Insha'Allah, mother effers, and welcome to the Polecat cast, where our stealthy polecats ferret out the best feels, funnies, and what the fucks to discuss Slam Bam Badger style. That's right. The Honey Badgers are back from inadvertently triggering Anita Sarkeesian, and we can now get back to our regular scheduled programming. So buckle up, buckaroos. Try to secure your sides and mind your spines. Also, maybe don't eat anything beforehand and make sure the bleach is locked up. If you're still here after that, well, fuck. I mean, that's incredible. Submit yourself into the nearest Ripley's Believe It or Not museum. You might make some money. Today's Polecat panel consists of the big half of Big and Robot, Scott, the self-aware simian, Dr. Random McCam, Panda, still inebriated from weeks of plundering the women that glow in the land down under, your Doge in charge, Brian Martinez, who, as I learned today, is a fan of the Stone Temple Pilots. And anybody who likes STP is cool in my book. And I am your host, Max Darrett, Simpsons kin, and definitely not SpongeBob's secret love child from his weekend stint in Rock Bottom. Today, we will be discussing the following topics. A self-identified, non-binary trans person has chosen to raise a baby without assigning it a gender. Hopefully the poor kid isn't accused of being an X-Men by the other kids or a replicant by the pot-smoking art teacher. Remember that Canadian bill which was supposed to mandate pronoun usage? Well, it seems that Bill C-16 might finally be taking effect. Police in the Canadian town of Halton recently tweeted out a chart of pronouns telling people that if they want to know what somebody's pronouns are, just ask them. And these could be the list of whichever ones they might be using. But then they deleted the tweet soon after. They likely realized that in order to carry out justice more efficiently, they can't be asking for somebody's pronoun prior to a clubbing. Now, we here at Honey Badger Radio anticipate that the song Bad Boys, made famous by the TV show Cops, will soon be censored worldwide for its discrimination of women, trans, and non-binary folk. We will, of course, update you when this happens. Have you ever used an archival website like archive.is, megalodon.jb, or, the Wayback Machine? Well, good news, you might likely be a racist. Vice Media has chosen to disable archival of their articles in order to stick it to the quote-unquote right wing. Rather than write articles that are fact-checked before putting them out, they'd rather call you a proponent of, quote, xenophobia, racism, sexism, and Islamophobia. Now, how is that anything but laziness? Finally, if you are gay, Jewish, and happen to live in Chicago, don't expect to be able to march in the Pride Parade anytime in the near future. Thankfully for Brian, he doesn't have to worry because only 2 of those 3 things apply to him. And finally, our bonus story for the patron-only after show. We will be revisiting the Evergreen State College controversy by reading a HuffPo article by a man named Michael Zimmerman. For those of you who don't know Mr. Zimmerman, he was the provost and vice president of academic affairs at Evergreen between 2011 and 2016. During the 2016 to 2017 year, he was assigned to work on off-campus issues. And as of July 1st, he is no longer working at Evergreen, and he gives his thoughts on the situation in great depth. Anyway, if you would like to participate in our after shows, either as an audience member or a participant, please consider becoming a patron at www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio.
If you're listening to this after the live show and you want to hear the full stream, go to www.honeybadgerradio.com for our unabridged podcasts, or look up to the right of this video. There's a link to go directly to the unabridged version on YouTube.
Remember when you were in elementary school? And all the kids had, regular boring names like Scott, David, Kelly, and whatever. Wow, I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a little subliminal thing there. I see. Thanks, buddy.
Actually, no. I didn't put that in there because of you. I was just, my dad came into the room while I was writing this, and his name is Scott. Sorry, I wasn't thinking when I wrote that. But anyways, there was always that one kid, though, who had a weird name like Ferdinand or Amaryllis. And all the kids picked on them for that name. Well, we'd be all like, God, their parents must really have had it out for them to give them a name like that. Well, I've got a story for you that is sort of a, let's say, modern update to that childhood trauma. Let me introduce you to a Canadian parent named Corey Doty. She's a self-identified non-binary trans person and is also a Max Darrett-identified child abuser. She recently had a child she named Sierra Atlee. Since Sierra's birth last November, Corey has been fighting to keep her baby's gender off government records. In an interview with the CBC, Corey's...
Max, you said her. Oh, careful. It should be theirs, okay? Their.
Just committed a hate crime, Max Derrick.
Yeah, that's like almost as bad as Kofefe.
And violent transgender property, almost as bad as Hitler. There you go.
I don't get paid nowhere near enough to do this. In an interview with the CBC, Corey said that great. I sound like, okay. Raising Sierra in such a way that until they have the sense of self and command of vocabulary to tell me who they are. Corey added, I'm recognizing them as a baby and trying to give them all the love and support to be the most whole person that they can be outside of the restrictions that come with the boy box and the girl box. In order to reinforce their worldview, Corey has been trying to get the provincial government of British Columbia to issue a birth certificate without a gender marker. While the baby has received health cards with an undetermined gender, Sierra has yet to receive a birth certificate to Corey's liking. So not only is Corey's baby named Sierra, but the baby doesn't have a gender. It's almost like Corey wants the school kids to crucify her child during recess. By the way, to all those who are offended that I was referring to Corey as she rather than they, two things. One, I don't give respect to child abusers. And two, suck my big fat yellow cock.
The pronoun police. Canadian police in the Halton region have tweeted out the following last week. Did you know, if you're not sure what pronoun somebody uses, just ask, what are your preferred pronouns? The now deleted tweet also included a handy chart denoting the proper usage of gender pronouns. The chart included traditional pronouns such as he, she, and they, and lesser-known pronouns such as z, zer, and ear. E-I-R. Not what you listen with. It's no secret that this tweet follows in the wake of Bill C-16, the very same bill Professor Jordan Peterson criticized as infringing on freedom of speech. Bill C-16, which passed June 19th of this year, criminalizes using incorrect gender pronouns with fines and possible hate crime charges. By the way, the last story we did also took place in Canada. That's how fucked your country is. Congrats, Canada.
Moving on to the next story regarding Vice. Scott, you want to read this for me?
Where are we at? Vice fighting back against archiving. Archiving services such as the Wayback Machine, archive.as, or IS, excuse me. Well, I'm off to a great start. Megalodon.jb and others are now joining the ranks of Discord and 4chan as right-wing websites and online services, according to Vice News. Vice has changed its website so that it's very difficult to view some archived articles posted on their website. For example, while attempting to archive some Vice articles using the Wayback Machine, users will be greeted with a 404 error, page not found. While one can still take screenshots of web pages, screen grabs are always susceptible to claims of modification. A web page can still be saved as HTML to one's computer, but web browsers Firefox, Chrome, and Edge will have problems displaying the saved web page, while only Internet Explorer is able to display the HTML in its entirety. Vice has decided to go the route because they are taking a stand against racism, bigotry, and Islamophobia, and that archiving services are being used by right-wing activists to discredit us and other reputable news outlets, as if they need any help. Vice claims that archiving articles, Vice isn't given the chance to update, remove, or edit the original post, and their reputation is being damaged in the process. However, isn't the point of archiving services supposed to archive what was originally written, as well as show the changes that have been made, and should be putting the trust in news outlets such as Vice to show any edits to articles they post? And there's that. Thank you for Andrew G. for the write-up on that article, sir.
Still an ice cream truck out here, so I wasn't I wasn't going to talk because of that, but I guess I will since no one else is saying anything. So Vice has decided to go this route because they are taking a stand against racism, bigotry, and Islamophobia, and that archiving services are being used by right-wing activists to discredit us and other reputable news outlets. How? Archiving.
What they did.
Yeah, I mean, like, what does archiving do except it lets you keep a screenshot, essentially, of the article that you wrote? How do right-wingers have any ability to doctor that. I don't understand what they. All I get is that Vice is fake news, and they're just basically trying to cover their ass. Because if they weren't full of shit, then there would be nothing that anybody could exploit.
There's nothing that makes me feel more satisfied, guys, than when I see the internal inconsistencies of progressive leftism exposed. And pro tip to anybody who detests a particular segment of the radical leftist movement and wants to see it collapse, single out the lead voices and ask for their thoughts on Jews. I'm being facetious, by the way. About a week ago, during a gay pride parade in Chicago, 3 people were ejected for carrying pride flags emblazoned with the Jewish Star of David. When organizers tried to rationalize their decision later on, some bizarre statements were made. In a blog post on ChicagoDykeMarchCollective.org, the flag carriers were accused of expressing Zionist views that go directly against the march's anti-racist core values. That's a direct quote. One of the flag carriers, named Laurel Grauer, said that she has marched for 10 years with the flag. During the march, organizers, volunteers, and other marchers expressed views that can be summarized into one sentence. Quote, "You have to leave because you are making people feel unsafe. You are putting them in danger by being here." When Laurel expressed support for the State of Israel, she also tried to state a belief that there should be a free and independent Palestine, but nevertheless she was shut down with the following. "You cannot be Zionist and believe in a Palestinian state. Zionism is inherently racism." Laurel followed up with the following question to one of the organizers right before she left. Quote, "So you're asking the 2 people carrying pride flags with Jewish stars on them and the God Hates Fags contingent?" The volunteer answered, "Yes." Thanks so much for joining us on this particular show, guys. Sorry about the audio issues. We'll try to fix them during post-production. If you like this particular stream, obviously, we like to hear from you guys, your thoughts in the comments after, the stream gets unlisted and we put out the other thing. If you like this particular video, make sure to leave a like before you take off. And if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. I want to thank Brian, Scott, and Mike for joining me today, and I really want to thank all of them as well as Allison for letting me take on hosting duties today. And what the hell is that?
They're celebrating the great job you're doing, Mac.
America!
Fuck yeah! Going off the Team America quote. Coming again to say the motherfucking day, yeah! That's the end of the show.